Welcome to What Are Yawns? Your body's sleepy shout. Have you ever wondered why we yawn? It's a universal human behavior, often associated with sleepiness, but there's so much more to it than meets the eye. In this video, we'll dive deep into the fascinating world of yawning, exploring its physiological mechanisms, surprising purposes, and even its social implications. We'll debunk common myths and uncover the latest scientific insights into this intriguing reflex. Get ready to discover why your body gives that sleepy shout. So what exactly is a yawn? A yawn is an involuntary reflex characterized by opening your mouth wide, taking a deep inhalation, and then exhaling slowly. It's often accompanied by stretching of the jaw, neck, and sometimes the arms. For a long time, the most common misconception was that yawning is simply caused by a lack of oxygen. However, as we'll discover, this theory has largely been disproven. Instead, current research points to much more complex and intriguing reasons behind this everyday phenomenon. We'll explore how yawns are not just about needing more air, but play a role in our brain's chemistry and physiological state. Let's break down the mechanics of a yawn. It starts with a deep inhalation, where the muscles in your jaw, throat, and diaphragm contract, expanding your lungs. Your mouth opens wide, and your jaw extends. This is followed by a shorter, slower exhalation. But it's not just about muscles. The nervous system plays a crucial role. The vagus nerve, which runs from the brainstem to the abdomen, is believed to be involved in the yawning process. It influences various bodily functions, including heart rate and digestion, and its connection to yawning suggests a link between yawning and overall physiological regulation. We'll see how this complex interplay of nerves and muscles creates the unique sensation of a yawn, and why this specific set of actions might be beneficial for our bodies. Now for the big question. Why do we yawn? One of the most prominent theories is the thermoregulation hypothesis. This suggests that yawning helps to cool down the brain, much like a radiator cools an engine. When our brains become slightly overheated, yawning might increase blood flow to the brain and introduce cooler air, optimizing brain function. Another significant theory is the arousal hypothesis. This proposes that yawning serves to increase alertness and awakeness. It's often observed when we are transitioning between states of arousal, like waking up, or when we are bored or tired. This sudden intake of air and stretching might stimulate the brain, helping us to stay more focused and attentive. We'll delve into the evidence supporting both of these compelling theories and discuss how they might work together. The most common association with yawning is, of course, sleepiness, and for good reason. There's a strong link between yawning, fatigue, and our body's need for sleep. When we're tired, our brain activity changes, and yawning becomes more frequent. This isn't just a coincidence. It's our body's way of sending a signal. Yawning can be a pre-sleep cue, indicating that our internal clock is telling us it's time to rest. It might also be a mechanism to keep us awake for a little longer when we're fighting off drowsiness, serving as a brief jolt of alertness. We'll explore how sleep deprivation impacts yawning frequency and discuss the physiological changes that occur in our bodies when we're fatigued, leading to those involuntary yawns. This connection highlights yawning as an important indicator of our overall sleep health. Have you ever noticed that when someone yawns, you often find yourself yawning too? This phenomenon is known as contagious yawning, and it's a fascinating social aspect of this reflex. Contagious yawning is particularly prevalent among people who are emotionally close, like family members and friends. This suggests a link to empathy and social bonding. When we witness someone yawn, our brains might unconsciously mimic their action, reflecting a shared emotional state or a desire to connect. It's less about actual tiredness in this context and more about social mirroring. Studies have shown that individuals with higher empathy scores are more susceptible to contagious yawning. We'll explore the neural mechanisms behind this social contagion and discuss how it contributes to our understanding of human connection and empathy. It's a subtle yet powerful form of nonverbal communication. Humans aren't the only ones who yawn. Many animals exhibit yawning behavior, and surprisingly, there are both similarities and differences in how and why they do it. From dogs and cats to reptiles and birds, yawning is observed across the animal kingdom. For many animals, yawning is also linked to thermoregulation or arousal, just like in humans. For instance, some animals yawn before engaging in hunting or social interactions, suggesting a role in increasing alertness. However, the social contagion of yawning appears to be more prominent in social animals, like primates and dogs, further supporting the empathy hypothesis. We'll look at intriguing examples of animal yawning, discussing how their yawning patterns might shed light on the evolutionary roots and universal purposes of this intriguing behavior. It's a fascinating cross-species phenomenon. While yawning is generally a normal and harmless reflex, excessive or unusual yawning can sometimes be a symptom of an underlying medical condition. For instance, certain neurological disorders, sleep disorders like sleep apnea, or even some medications can lead to an increase in yawning frequency. If you find yourself yawning excessively without apparent reason, or if your yawning is accompanied by other concerning symptoms, it's always advisable to consult a doctor. They can help identify the cause and rule out any potential health issues. This section isn't meant to alarm, but rather to inform you about when yawning might be more than just a sleepy shout. We'll discuss specific scenarios where a medical consultation might be beneficial, and what kind of conditions could manifest with unusual yawning patterns. Let's clear up some common misconceptions about yawning. As we've already touched upon, the idea that yawning is solely due to a lack of oxygen is largely a myth. While a yawn does involve deep breathing, it's more about brain cooling or alertness than oxygen deprivation. Another myth is that yawning is always a sign of boredom. While it can occur when we're bored, it's also a common occurrence when we're stressed, anxious, or even excited. We'll also debunk the idea that yawning is a sign of rudeness. Often, it's an involuntary response that indicates physiological changes, not a lack of interest. Understanding these nuances helps us appreciate the complexity of yawning beyond simplistic explanations. By addressing these myths, we can gain a more accurate and comprehensive understanding of this universal human behavior. From an evolutionary perspective, why did yawning become such a widespread behavior? One prominent theory suggests that yawning evolved as a way to synchronize group behavior, particularly in social animals. A yawn could signal a change in activity, like preparing for sleep, or for a period of alertness. This collective action could have helped ancient groups coordinate their rest and activity cycles, improving survival and social cohesion. Another theory posits that yawning is a remnant of a more primitive arousal mechanism, helping our ancestors shift between states of rest and vigilance more effectively. We'll explore how these evolutionary theories shed light on the deeper purpose of yawning, linking it to our ancient past and the very fabric of social interaction. It's a fascinating look at how a simple reflex could have played a crucial role in our development as a species. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the world of yawns. We've covered everything from the intricate physiology of a yawn, involving muscles and the vagus nerve, to the leading theories behind why we do it, brain thermoregulation and arousal. We've explored the fascinating link between yawning and sleepiness, understanding it as a cue from our body. The social phenomenon of contagious yawning highlighted empathy's role and its connection to social bonding. We also saw that animals yawn too, offering insights into the evolutionary roots of this behavior. Importantly, we discussed when excessive yawning might signal a medical condition and debunked common myths, like the oxygen theory. Finally, we touched upon the evolutionary purpose of yawning, suggesting its role in group synchronization and survival. So the next time you let out a big yawn, remember, it's not just a sleepy shout, but a complex and fascinating signal from your incredible body.